and welcome to National Parents Union Live presents Speak Your Truth with your co-host each and every night, yours truly, Vivett Dukes. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well. I am super excited to be here with you as I am every single time we get together. I'm extra excited because yesterday we celebrated my husband John's graduation from Mercy College. So shout out to you, John. So excited for his future, for what that means to him and what that means for us. So I'm just like really happy. Would you join me? And that's what the flowers are in the back. Congrats to him. We had a really wonderful celebration yesterday with our friends and family, including our National Parents Union family. They just came out and supported John and supported me, and we had such a wonderful time. Guys, we literally like had a Zoom party all day. We started like noon and we didn't end till like 1 a.m. It was so good. If you haven't done that, you have to try. I'm about to have another one for my birthday, so you'll definitely, not everyone, but some will get the invitation. Anyway, I want to talk to you tonight, seriously, on a more serious note. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing two amazing guests. And when I say amazing, we throw that word around, but they're amazing to me because of their overcomer spirit, of their ability to have such resilience and such grit and such sustainability in the way that they govern their lives, in the way that they are children to their parents and the people who raise them, how they honor them by the kind of parent that they are. And so I'd like to start off tonight introducing Ms. Naomi Ned and Ms. Ebony Underwood. Ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Hi. I just have to say, y'all look good. Yeah, I said it before we came on, and now I'm going to say it on the air because it's true. Don't they look beautiful? Come on, pop it up. I'm sorry. We got to support the queens. I'm all about that. Supporting the queens. Beautiful. Naomi, I love your attire. I'm feeling very, you see the body language? That's how your attire is making me feel. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you. I love how platforms like this are actually bringing us together because I haven't seen either one of you in a minute, right?
Way too long, yes.
Way too long. Naomi, I'm going to start with you. I invited you here tonight. I'll just be quite candid because I find you to be really a stellar parent. And I'm speaking to you as a parent, and I'm speaking to you as a teacher. My experience with children, you really have got some things just like they come naturally to you. And I'm so impressed by you. Look at your face. You're like, wow, yeah, don't be shy about it. You're really, really just a together mom. And I'd like you to talk to us about how did you become that kind of a parent?
The floor is mine.
Yes.
How did I become the parent that I am? A lot of prayer. A lot of prayer. I don't even know where to start. That's such a broad question, but I just know that I believe that we're all a product of what we've come from. And yet we don't have to repeat cycles. How did I become the parent that I am? I'm gonna say there was a psychologist on an episode of Oprah Winfrey that I watched when I was 15 years old. I don't remember his name, I don't remember any of his credentials, but he said, essentially the message that I took away, I don't even know if this is exactly what he said, but what I received from him was, children will become what they experience, even if they do not want to repeat that experience. And so what he was essentially saying, or essentially what I took away, was that as the child of parents who were alcoholics, as the child of an unwed single, well, actually she was wed, but just not to my father, but single mother, unwed mother, alcohol dependence, both parents, and incarcerated parent. And this man basically said that I was going to become that because that is what I came from, and there was absolutely nothing that I could do about it. And at 15 years old, watching this episode of Oprah Winfrey, it made me angry. And at that point, I can clearly remember going through my high school career and making some choices and literally saying, well, if I do this, that's going to happen. And if that happens, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. And that man is going to be right. I don't even remember his name, but every time I got ready to do something stupid, making sure that he was not, I could not let him be right. So I would do the exact opposite. I think it was also important to be real about where I came from, and grateful for mentors and people that were God sent, divinely sent. I remember being 7 years old and another angel, I don't remember her name, friend of a relative that I was living with who was far less than kind to me, this relative. But there was a friend of hers that came into our lives. And I remember this woman would show up and she would clean my aunt's house and she would take care of us. And one day she said to me, do you know what that is? And she pointed to the beauty mark on my face. And she said to me, that's a beauty mark. And it means that you are beautiful. It means that you are made of God. And this was like the first time I'd remembered in a long time of somebody telling me that I was beautiful. And I never forgot that. I don't remember this woman's name, but I remember that. And I remember laying in bed in my aunt's house, not feeling safe, and saying to God, if you send someone to get me from this place and get me someplace safe, I promise that when I grow up, if ever there is a child in need, I will do for them. And not long after that, my father's brother got word as to how my brother, my sister, and I were living. And he just showed up. He just showed up and he said, that's my brother's child and those are her siblings. They belong to me, they're coming with me. And my aunt and uncle picked us up and my aunt started trying to piece through to find clothing and my uncle said, get the kids, leave it. Leave everything, just get the kids and let's go. And my aunt took the three of us and they took us to their home, a 2-bedroom apartment in Southeast DC, where they and their 6 children were living. And living in that house, if their children ate steak, we ate steak. If their children ate beans, we ate beans. Usually when it came time for new clothes, stuff got shifted around and if it had wear in it and it fit you, you got it. And whoever was, I guess, the biggest or the smallest would end up with the newest thing if there was, but there was just no distinction. And all of these things have led me to be the parent that I am. I think that I was a parent long before I became a mother.
I would say that too. I've seen you in that role of being the caregiver for children before you had your own child. So I would say that's true. Ebony, I saw you shaking your head when, as Naomi was speaking. I'd like to introduce you, Ebony. Not that you really need any introduction beyond being a very dear friend to me. And you endeared yourself to me at a time when it was very dark in my life. John was still incarcerated at that time. And we knew each other, but not to the extent where you showed yourself friendly to us by writing a letter for John's parole packet to go before the parole board. Which that we still talk about it to this day. We look through it like, well, who are the people who, people can say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're there, we care, and not that they don't, but now when it's like take that extra step, like, hey, I'm on a show. Would you like to be on a show? Sure, I support you. Hey, we need this letter to go before the parole board. Could you take time to write it? Sure, I got you. And you did. So thank you. I know I've thanked you privately, but I'd like to thank you publicly for that. Because John's home now and you played a role in that. And I'm so indebted to you. We just love you for that. But you have a own journey with parenting and being a child. And could you talk to us about what brings you here tonight to the National Parents Union? Speak your truth.
Yes. Let me speak my truth. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me into this conversation. Naomi, that was phenomenal just to hear about. I understand that wholeheartedly. But Vivett, to go back to, even meeting you and John, and the energy between you all was just so powerful. It was just really, really powerful. And, it warmed my heart, and at the same time it broke my heart that you all weren't together. So yeah, of course, that was without question. I felt John, behind those bars, and knew that he needed to be home. So, and you were there advocating for him. So yeah, that just made so much. I mean, there was no question. Y'all felt like family immediately when I met y'all. All that to say, we met at Sing Sing. I had the opportunity to be a keynote speaker at a father's graduation. It was a father's program, a fathering parenting program that they have there for fathers. And they asked me to be a keynote speaker for the graduation. And Vivett was also a speaker as well. And we had the opportunity to meet, and I heard them and saw them. And that was probably, at that point in my life, I was early into advocating for my father. My father's been incarcerated for now, it'll be 32 years this year. And I've been not spoken publicly for the first 25 years of that experience, because of course, there's lots of shame, there's just stigma and trauma around that entire experience. But being able to speak at that particular graduation, wow. First of all, I had never been inside a prison in that capacity. And to be able to connect, not have to go through we went through the bars, but it was just a different experience. And to be able to sit there and just actually speak to these men, I felt like I was speaking to my father. Like, if I had an opportunity to share, it was an opportunity right then and there to share. And if I could even impart on these fathers who are parents, who are here, who have now graduated from this incredible parenting program, showed their willingness to still be as present as possible in that moment. And John was one of those people, and you, Vivett, there to support him. I just felt like this is a moment for me to say something. So I just imagine as if it was my father. And growing up, my father's been incarcerated since 1988. And in that process, I was completely devastated when my father went away, and I did not want to deal with it. My siblings and I did not deal with it. I mean, I know personally I did not deal with it. I didn't even talk to my siblings about it. I just kind of ignored it, thinking that it would go away. But the thing that has kept, I guess, me, and has gotten me into this moment, was the parenting that my father has done throughout this entire experience. He has never stopped being a dad from the moment that he's been there. And I believe it was that consistency. And this is what I shared that day at the graduation, when I was angry, when I became a teenager, and I was just angry, and I was just like, I don't want to talk to him. I wouldn't answer the phone. Calls again. I can't call him. He's in federal prison. I can't call him. He has to call me. Consistently calling when we would get in arguments. And I mean, he was just now in retrospect, it's like, wow, okay, okay, wow. I don't know what was going on, where he was at. Say that again.
I was saying, I'm hoping John will be able to join us because there's so many similarities in what you're saying about your dad always being a parent for you, regardless of whether you hung up that phone, he always called back. John did the same thing, and he said, she can call me. So when she does want to speak to me, because she will want to speak to me because I'm her father, my blood is coursing through her veins, she's going to need me, I have to call her.
That's right.
I can't, and what happens if the day I don't call is the day she really needs it? Can I take that risk? Hang up, call back, hang up, call back, hang up, call back. Now, we don't know what that's like, but I know phone calls are a big deal in prison. Phone calls kept my marriage alive for almost 4 years. So to have a parent like that, I don't want to interrupt your story, but that really resonated with me.
No, I hear you.
Only sitting there just like when she heard 32 years, I don't know if you saw her face, but it was like.
I don't want to interrupt your story, but my mother was incarcerated for 3 years, and you can't compare pain. So like, it's not like, oh, well, my pain is less because I didn't lose my mother for 30 years, but damn, I'm trying to wrap my head around. Can I ask, how old were you and your father?
So I never really share my age, but I'll say that I was an adolescent for sure.
Because I don't look more than 30. You barely look 30. I'm just blown on so many levels, but I'm
no,
yeah.
To your point about comparing pain, like I don't look at that at all. I think the experience reverberates even past, okay, I don't know if you've had closure with the situation. I don't know if your mom is, you said, no, she said 3 years. So even past that, you start to see how that continues to show up in your life. Just the experience, like that's what made me kind of like waking up to this, because I'm now a mom, right? And so like in my relationship, I'm a single mom. So the relationship even with my son's father, and then to compare, and I shouldn't compare, but I have a very present father in comparison to my experience. So, right. So it's just like, when I look at it, it really made me think, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. I really need to look at this person, this individual who gave birth to me, my father, and who has continued to be a part of my life, even on the moments when I did not want to have anything to do with him because of this experience, and not understanding how harmed or traumatized I have been through this experience, and how me not getting to the core of that began to show up in all parts of my life. So I had to really get clear about who I was in order for me to even begin to do the work of, this organization, building out this organization for children of incarcerated parents, and just being an advocate and being able to speak publicly. I had to get to the core of who I was. And a lot of that had to do with understanding how severely traumatized and how much pain I had buried inside of me because of this experience. Mm-hmm. So I hear you. So I don't measure the pain. I hear 3 years is 30 years. It's the same. To me, it's the same. There's no, it's like right now with us social distancing. I just wrote an op-ed for Mike called, I've been social distancing for the last 31 years because it's 3 months and people are stir crazy. Naomi, Vivett, too. Hello, this is our lives. Hello, to y'all, welcome to our world. Welcome to our world. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to have a loved one behind bars. This social distancing, this is exactly what it feels like. So yeah. There's no comparison. Yes.
I was just also taken aback. I remember no one ever told me not to speak of my mother being incarcerated, but it was always referred to as her being away. She's away. And even when she came home and we were reunited as a family, if she spoke of that time, if anyone spoke of that time, it was when she was away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I have ever said to my mother during the time you were incarcerated, when you were away. Even today, when you were away.
So still, wow. I was gonna ask, I was just about to ask. I was just about to ask, like, what is the reunification? Because I have a friend who just reunified with her mom, and it's so many challenges, you know, with reunification. Like you said, like, so that's not even being addressed.
No, it isn't. And I can say that, like, with my mom and myself, I'm a middle child and the oldest girl. So I very much became a parentified child, especially with my younger sister. She's 4 years younger than I am. And the other day she posted on Facebook something along the lines of, my sister has been looking out for me since I was in diapers and she still hasn't stopped. And I can remember when we were reunited with my mother, it was like there was this battle between us. It's like we were these two women fighting over our child. And for me, it wasn't that I was fighting her for my sister, but more so I'd always taken care of her. Grown-ups had fallen short. Hey, you're our mom and you went away. So you went away and I stepped up, and people came and went, and I was still there. And even when we had aunt and uncle who were safe, I was still there. I was a consistent. And when my sister fell and scraped her knee, she would say, "Nay." She didn't say mommy. And my mother's constant message was, I'm home now, do it. But for me, it was just second nature. It didn't occur to me to not do it. So that reunification is one that I would say it still impacts the relationship. All these years later, she was home for more of my childhood than not. And that definitely still plays a major role in the relationship that we have.
Those 3 years
of separation,
right?
Still, all this time later, and
it drives.
can attribute some of the connection. No, talk. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
And trust me, there is love. There is forgiveness. There is connection. We're by no means estranged, but that time of separation definitely framed our relationship more than anything else.
Wow. That's so interesting. So that brings me to the point of why I started this organization, We Got Us Now, because a lot of the work that I saw being done to support children of incarcerated parents, first of all, I didn't even know there was a thing called children of incarcerated parents. Like I never even knew until the Obama administration decided that they wanted to reform the criminal justice system. And so learning about this term and, you know, that there were organizations that supported people like supposedly, I didn't even know that I was in a part of a population, and learning about it, the focus was primarily on little children. And I remember being a child, I remember my siblings being really young as well, but then we're growing up and there was no magic button, you know, of, okay, all of this is over at 18 where it goes away. So for me, I felt like also, I didn't want to forget about kids that have parents in and out of jails, parents that are locked away in state prisons, or parents that are, who I think are most, or kids that have parents that are in federal prison are mostly forgotten about because it's a federal issue, it's a national issue. So I wanted to represent all parts of the population. And so We Got Us Now is a national organization. It's a national nonprofit organization that's built by, led by, and about children of incarcerated parents and young adults who've been impacted by the mass incarceration of their parents. So, yeah, so to your point, like, I understand that because there is no instructions for how to navigate this situation. Speak your truth. Thank you so much, Vivett, to having this like really heart, in-depth and conversation around this, because we need to talk about this stuff. Like, it's still unhealed. And again, that's how I even got to this space, because I was not healed. I realized like there was a hole inside of me that just was, I had to deal with it. And God brought me all the way down until I really dealt with it to bring me to this beautiful space. And I'm still going through it. It's not over. I'm still going through it. So I appreciate you, Naomi, sharing your truth, because it's true. We still are like this thing impacts you for the rest of your life, in subtle ways.
What I like that you have both shared and what you're both demonstrating with your lives is that, Naomi, what you heard that day on Oprah Winfrey's show from that psychologist,
Man, it pissed me off.
Wrong. It was wrong. Yeah, no, you said it right. He pissed you off. It's fine. Yeah, I wish you were here with Dr. Whitney Hollins. Ebony, you know her well. She was on the show last week. She did her doctoral dissertation entitled Guilty by Association. And she talks about the fact that children of incarcerated parents often get deemed to have the same outcome in their lives that their parent did, the incarcerated parent did. However, it's not true. All the research goes against that. Mm-hmm. All the research shows that there is no direct correlation between a parent's incarceration and the likelihood of their child becoming incarcerated. And if anything, it propels the children like you, like Ebony, like Whitney, to be even greater, better in life. It has the opposite impact, where anytime it feels like I may be going down that road, whatever that road is, they bring themselves back. And the shame that we talk about and Speak Your Truth, the shame you mentioned, both of you, it's not so much from the inside. It's not that you don't love your parent anymore, according to Dr. Hollins' research. It's the shame that society is going to put on you and does put on you once they find out, oh, you have a parent, even if your parent was incarcerated, like, oh, your mother was incarcerated? Wow. Wow, what? Yeah, and, and not with an attitude necessarily, but what is the wow in that? In a nation where we incarcerate millions of people, did you not think they had children?
No, they don't.
They don't.
No, they don't. People do not think about the children. They do not. They don't think. When you think about incarceration, you think about, okay, this is criminal. It's usually a male, and he's going away, and he did some heinous crime, and he has to be put away forever. There's no thought about the family. That's another thing that propelled me to do this work, because even in my effort to advocate for my father, I was in DC, and I was just hearing even reform advocates talking about this discussion, and they were talking about these individuals as if they were data and just numbers. And I'm like, wait a minute, do y'all not understand that these people have families? Like, this is a person with a whole family attached to them. So I said, oh, I gotta say something. Yeah, so that's how we got to We Got Us Now, because it's so true. There is this guilt by association, and we don't love our parents any less. We absolutely love our parents. But again, it's that stigma from, what has been perpetuated, through false narratives that we've all become accustomed to. Even some of us that are impacted that don't know. We have to inform ourselves. And so, yeah, that's a large part of the advocacy work that we do. That's the advocacy track that we do, is really to just inform and educate. We work from 4 pillars: to engage, educate, elevate, and empower our historically invisible population, because we are historically invisible. There are 2.7 million children under the age of 18 at any given point in time that have a parent incarcerated. But of the 2.3 million people inside our vast prison population, 50% of them are parents, which has now today brought about over 10 million children who have been impacted by parental incarceration in the United States. And that is still a guesstimate. They believe the number is actually greater. So it's, like you said, Naomi, we come from all walks of life.
And when I hear those numbers and you talk about them being greater, I look and wonder, my son, for example, came to me pretty much at birth. I finalized my son's adoption just before he was 2 years old. And
I was there for the
so that was
adoption.
and I remember learning the day after his adoption was finalized, I picked up the phone and I called his maternal grandmother, his biological maternal grandmother. And I did so because I made a choice from before my son came to me that I would never judge the woman who gave birth to him. I would never judge the road that she traveled. And even as I prayed for him, I now know while he was in her womb, I can remember praying for the woman who would birth my child, praying for her protection, because whatever was happening in her life that was going to cause her to have to be separated from this child, it wasn't something that anyone would make a conscious and deliberate choice to experience. And so I prayed for her and for my child that was growing in her womb. And I can't even explain the prayer. And as it was coming up, I remember being confused by it, but praying this prayer anyway. And just to talk about it, when you count the number of children who are impacted by parents being incarcerated, when I reached out to his bio family, I learned that his mother was incarcerated at a point prior to his adoption being finalized. And she was incarcerated when she learned that her parental rights had been terminated, because that's where they were finally able to find her. And when we talk about the number of children who are impacted by parents who are incarcerated, my child is certainly not counted in that number, because it was not known that she was incarcerated when he was a foster child. And the day that her parental rights were terminated, in the eyes of the law, he was no longer her child, so he would not be counted in that number. So really, how many children are there?
Wow.
Because he's not the only adopted child through foster care who has no legal connection to that parent. So that child is not counted in that number. But you can't tell me that he is not impacted by separation from his mother and all of those choices that led up to him being adopted.
Absolutely, and the numbers are actually rising. As Ebony said, we tend to think about, oh, the father got incarcerated, the man in the household, and he went away, but the numbers are rising for women. Women are becoming the most highly incarcerated population. It's rising. And when a mother, you see, when a father gets incarcerated, usually there is a woman, a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, someone who's going to pick up the slack and help out so that the child is somewhat sheltered, right, and protected. However, when a mother gets incarcerated,
that's
I
it.
was a single mother.
Oh
So what, God forbid, would have happened if I, in my desperation as a single mother, made one choice? So that's all it is. It's one choice. It's just one choice. If I made a one choice that wound me up in prison, what would have happened to my children?
I mean, I know too many daughters and sons that have had this experience and how traumatizing that is and how it completely debilitates the whole family, you know? Yeah, so, yeah, you're so right. Like, you
And
know.
what impact does it have on the child if no one knows? As you said, they're lost in the cracks, they're hidden. So how many students have come, I've been teaching 12 years now, how many students have come across my classroom, been in my presence every day for 180 days without me knowing that they were incarcerated, their parent was incarcerated? On those Mondays when they come into school, and you know, we like to just put labels on kids. Oh, they're so lazy, so tired, they never do their work. You would be tired too if you had to go through everything you go through in a parent who's incarcerated. I was tired.
Or if you just came off of a visit over the weekend, right?
Came off the visit over the weekend. Don't let it have been on a Sunday.
Right.
And I was so exhausted and tired and missing him and replaying the visit and wondering if he's okay. Did he get the package? Did they take it? And this is me with the wherewithal, with all of these skill sets to help me cope. which still weren't
Right.
enough. What is the child supposed to do with that? I just don't get it. I just don't get why we're not addressing it. No, go ahead.
That piece is so important. That piece is so important that you speak about, because it's like, what do you do with all those feelings? And you all both touched on, I think, an important aspect of it is faith. I think that spirituality and faith, I feel, I hear it from you, Naomi, that you feel like that's the thing that guided you. But I love to hear from both of you. Like, for me, I know definitely, it has been, I was forced to get very spiritual and faithful in this process. How did y'all navigate that? Like, what happened?
For me, I can honestly say that, other than divine intervention, if I had to put a human face on it, so to speak, my paternal grandmother. When I was 6 months old, I went to live with her, and I was with her consistently for those foundational years. And then my mother removed me from her care, and the whole world went to hell, so to speak. And my father's brother said, no. That's my brother's child, and he may not be around, but that's my blood. And Neds are very proud people. Don't let there be a Ned at a graduation or anything else singing loud. You can be loud and off key, whatever. If that's a Ned, man, listen, we are proud people. And so when he stepped up, it again reunited me with my grandmother. And in those years when I was with my uncle, if there was a 3-day weekend, we were on the road back to South Carolina to grandma. And I don't know how, but God used her to pour into me everything that I would need. I draw on her wisdom today. Sometimes things will come to me that she said, and when she said it, I had no understanding of it. I don't even know that it's there until it comes up.
I've never met your grandmother, and I feel like I have through you, because it's so many times during the course of our friendship, she's just said, Graham, yup, because Graham would say, and Graham would do just Graham, and she'll make something in the kitchen. She's like, yep, Graham used to do it like that. Yeah, I remember when we were in South Carolina. It's just, and I'm sitting there like, ooh, story time about Graham. But it's so beautiful because she has informed you so much in how you are as a parent. And I get the honor to see you function as a parent, knowing your history, learning more about it today even, and then seeing how you are with your son, not knowing that he had his own touch with parental incarceration. So you have the potential to break some generational curses in his life and break off what incarceration tries to do, which is separate love. That's really right. The biggest thing that I found. It's not about correcting anyone. It's just about punishment. And if you love that person who's incarcerated, then we're going to punish you too. That's the price you pay. How dare you love them? Oh, woe be unto you who dare love those children, these unseen children, these foster children, these adoptive children, these children with incarcerated parents, because for some reason we don't value them as much as a society.
We don't. And when you say that, it takes me back. I remember when my son was being evaluated for
say that again, please, because I need that.
He was being evaluated for early intervention services. And we walked in, and based on his birth history and medical history, he was an automatic qualifier. I read the small print in everything. And I had never heard of this program. But when the case planner, and excuse me, but he had a kick-ass case planner. Those people are all, you always hear about the person who dropped the ball, who didn't do that. he had a kick-ass case planner. And she said to me, when he was this big, when he's 4 months old, I'm going to bring you paperwork about this program. We need to fill it out because they move slow, and by the time they do it, he'll be 6 months old. And she handed me a packet. When she handed me this packet, I read it from cover to cover. And when I saw that they had children who automatically qualify, and I said, okay, he check, check, check. Any one of these items would have made him an automatic qualifier. He had 3 of them. So what that meant was no matter how he scored, no matter how he could have scored genius, he is eligible for every scope of service because he is at risk. Fast forward, we're there at the hearing, and the clerk making the decision looks at his raw scores, and she says, he doesn't qualify. She never asked me a question. She never looked at any of the evaluations. So I said to her, he's an automatic qualifier. Oh, well, his scores, I said, lady, automatic qualifier. And then she said something about him being a foster child.
Okay.
He's just a foster child. You're just his foster mother, is what she said. And I said to her, I am his mother for as long as God has ordained it. And I will sit here and fight for him as though he came from my womb. And since you cannot read this to see that my child automatically qualifies for services, I'd like to speak with your supervisor. And so the supervisor came in and she explained why he didn't qualify. And I opened up this 56-page document that I had read and highlighted and had questions, because you tell me that we're going to come and discuss the services. So I'm thinking that we're going to discuss this 56-page evaluation that no one has read. Even the person that was there to represent my son had not read this document, but I had read it. And so when the supervisor proceeded to tell me that he did not qualify, I opened up I pulled out his medical diagnoses, and I said, this failure to thrive, microcephaly, exposure to opiates in utero, automatic qualifier. Now, respectfully, my child will leave here with the services that he has a right to, or I will be back with my lawyer. And this is not me just blowing smoke. I will be back with his lawyer. And the supervisor turned to the clerk and said, give her what she wants. And at that point, that was a turning point for me, because I honestly walked into this meeting thinking, oh, I'm gonna walk in and we're gonna sit and everybody's gonna have read this report. And that was a turning point for me. And I wanna say that I really became a mama bear that day, because I realized that we have to, it's disgusting to say that even when there are services there, you have to fight for your kids to get what they need. And you kind of
parents, Nick, I think on that, I just want to pause you right there, because you just really gave something really crucial to any parent involved with the National Parents Union, and any parent, whether you're involved or not. You have to be one step ahead. You cannot just trust agencies, people to just help. You have to know what is going on, and if you don't, because we all come equipped with our own set of skills, what we bring to the table, then bring someone with you, then you be that person. Go with someone. If you don't know, Vivett, I don't know, but I need help. Can you come, please? Ebony, this directive with this prison, I don't know how to navigate it. Can you help me, please? Because I think a lot of parents don't, they're already emotionally entangled in the situation, which causes them to, whatever the situation is, and I'm being really vague, just trying to apply what Naomi is sharing with us tonight, what Ebony is sharing with us tonight, and apply, because some people might say, well, I don't have any involvement with incarceration. I don't have an adoptive child or foster child. That's not for me. No, you are a parent. You are in charge of children. Do you see children around you? That's where I've gone to it with that level. We need to get back to a village model. Yes, they're our kids. They're ours. because I teach kids, and those are my babies.
Yes.
Mine.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
mine. Sorry to interrupt your story, but I just want to touch on that. You have a 56-page document, and you read through that document to know if you hadn't done that, he wouldn't have gotten his services. That's early intervention.
That's what that is key, because not only in advocating for your child, I like you said, when you talk about the skill set, I know that I bring to the table a skill set that even the average educated and informed parent doesn't bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a contract negotiator.
Mm.
I read and write and interpret contract language every day, all day long. And so without even thinking about it, I will read what you've said and know what you're not saying.
Yes.
And
I laugh because before I did this advocacy work, I was on the road to law school to become an intellectual property lawyer. So I get what you're saying.
And it's like you don't even try to do it, but you're not even looking for, the sham or whatever, but you'll look at something and go, oh no. No. And then that makes you go over it with a fine-tooth comb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when advocating, it's almost like, as hard as it is, because this is your child, and Vivett, you touched on it. I think that it would have been very different had I gone in. Oh no, my child deserves this service, and you're going to give my. Said in a different way, I would just have ended up with them having security come and ask me to go, or I would have ended up on the news because some cop would have thrown me on the ground. Who knows? So it's as hard as it is to do when you're advocating. If you're going to be heard, you have to leave the anger, especially, but as much as possible, try and sideline the emotion. And I would say to any parent, don't be ashamed to ask for help.
Right.
I'm an African-American woman, and my son is white appearing. We make up less than 1% of all, we make up less than 1% of all adoption. Parent of color, white child, that doesn't happen. And as I parent him, for me, there's no shame in asking what I do not know. I have turned to friends and I have said, listen, this African-American woman, I love my son. I don't know about Irish, Italian skin. I'm looking at these red cheeks. Do I go to the doctor, or do I just put some tussin on it? White mama, school me. The same way you come to me about hair, white mama, school me. And I had friends who said to me, no, thus, and so. So it's like you can't allow shame to stop you from reaching out for help. And if a mom approaches me, I'm not shameful about the fact that my child gets early intervention services or that he gets CPSE services. I don't throw his story in the street because that's his story. But I am not ashamed of the way that I advocate for him. And because of that, I have had parents say to me, I think thus and so, what do I do? And so I would say to any parent that's hearing me, don't be ashamed to ask for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for guidance. And if you don't get help at the first stop, keep going until you do.
Wow. Ebony, what would you like to add to that? Thank you for that, Naomi, because I like concrete, practical things to walk away with. It's wonderful to share our stories, and we do learn from each other as we share, but I often will walk away from spaces sometimes feeling like, okay, what do I do with all of that now? Taking on a lot. So thank you for equipping our viewers with some kind of concrete walk away. Well, ask for help if you need it, which sounds so simplistic, but you'd be surprised. People just don't necessarily feel comfortable doing that, you know, for whatever reason. Ebony, what would you say to a young person who is in the situation that you were in with an incarcerated parent? What would you say?
Well, I just want to touch upon what Naomi said, because gosh,
Yes.
I get that. Woo, that was powerful, Naomi. Thank you. Oh, hi, John. Hey, John.
No.
Hey.
No, no.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. I was just so happy to see you. Congratulations, too.
Yes, congrats again.
Yeah, that's what's up. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
Continue building. I want to hear it. Feed me.
I was hectic. I was hectic yesterday. I apologize for not being able to join y'all. So to touch on what Naomi said, I really felt that because my mom, you know, was my greatest advocate from when I was younger, and she always encouraged me to ask. If you don't know, you better ask. So like I just carried that throughout my life. So if to answer your question, Vivett, when I meet young people, and I meet them all the time, when I meet them, I try to meet them where they are because of this experience, and I have 3 siblings, we all were not, everybody was not like me and open and wanting to be, everybody was not ready to be in the space of speaking out. So I'm often very mindful. And a lot of it, and I'm very cautious too. I try to be as intentional as possible because, for instance, my sister was not one to want to speak out at all. She didn't want to say nothing. She was like, I don't want to, you know, I don't need this for my job. Like, I don't know what people's going to say. I don't even want to have this conversation. I'm not ready to even deal with it because, you know, just in sharing about it, it brings up a lot of emotions. So when I meet young people, and most of the time it's through, you know, people knowing what I do. And so it's an experience, but even for people I never knew, if they've heard me speak someplace and they come and they, you know, speak to me and then share their experience, it's been a two-way street usually. There's usually people that say, you know what, thank you so much for sharing. This is my story too. I really appreciate you doing this work. And to know that there is something out there for others, they're delighted. But then there's others. So that's the one track. And then the other track is, I want to help you. Like, what do I need to do to be in this work? I want to do this work. So me taking that into consideration, and it started with my own personal family. It's only because I've had this experience and within my own family amongst me and my siblings, where I was ready to go. And the other sibling was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So looking from that perspective, I always carry that with me when I meet a young person to kind of just see where they are first and foremost. And then from that point on, then I can, you know, kind of gauge where you are. And if you're, you know, even if they aren't around, at least this was my idea. When I decided to create We Got Us Now, I said, you know what, at the very least, if I was 13 years old and I found out about We Got Us Now, I probably would not say anything to my siblings, to my mom, or even to my dad. But I was such an avid reader that I said, if there were videos, if there was information, I would absolutely look it up. If I had the internet, I would look it up and discover what this We Got Us Now is about and just be immersed in it. And at the very least, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to create a space online where young people can go to and learn about this and know that they're not alone. Hear personal narratives, you know, hear stories about this experience and know that they were not alone. And so at the very, very least, that's what I'd like to do. We've now created this Actionist leadership program, and we have 10 actionists from all across the country, which is like mind-blowing to me, where, you know, they're all like leaders in their own right that have had this experience. And now we have the opportunity to amplify the work that they do and share about what they're doing in their respective cities and states as advocates that are leading from the space of being directly impacted daughters and sons. And so to have the opportunity to do that is phenomenal.
What's the website, Ebony? Before we go, I want to see if the producer can drop it in the chat so people can, you know, go to the website directly.
WeGotUsNow.org.
Org. And I know John's really, I'm happy to see you, babe. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I know you wanted to talk to Ebony. You've been meaning to talk to her a lot about this. Are you ready? When is someone ready to talk about this experience of having parental incarceration in their lives?
Yeah, that is true. You know, because what I went through. First, I want to acknowledge both of you lovely ladies. Naomi, it's good to see you as well. I haven't seen you so long, but I did see you shortly yesterday, which was nice. And with Tucker, so great parent, great parenting skills.
Thank you.
I really appreciate what you're doing. You know, because it's not even like it's a job to you. So I appreciate what you're doing, loving him.
It's a job.
Doesn't seem like it with you. You love him so well.
I love him. Yes, absolutely.
And Ebony, thank you. I called you a little bit, text you. I want to thank you now where I can at least see you visually. Salute, double salute for you. Thank you for the letters, for the letter that helped me get out. You know, one of the important letters to part of my parole package. So I really thank you for that.
I thanked you too before you came on. I did.
Yeah, she did. And I felt it from the moment that I met you. I knew it. I mean, I'm not even looking for thank yous, but I appreciate it. But yeah, man, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be here. This is what you're doing, right? This is it.
And your story has been amazing ever since I met you. To know, just to hear you speak, like you said from day one, the conviction, the wherewithal that you used all your powers, all your resources within yourself to go and attack the criminal justice system, you know, to say, look, my father is wrongly convicted. My father need to get out of there. I need help. My siblings need help. And guess what? All people that is facing this, they need help. So it was like how would I say it? I don't want to say altruism, but that's what I get from it. That wasn't the word I'm looking for, but that comes to mind now. Like, you sacrificed not just for yourself, you're like being selfless. Like, listen, I wanna help so many. And just like you said before when I first came in, how you wanted to put yourself in the mind frame to say, you know what? How could I get a person that's 13 when I was 13? How would that feel? How did it feel? Let me get them involved and let me do what I'm doing in my organization to attract those type of people. Like when I was in that mindset, when I was going through it, I applaud you for that. I listen to you a lot because even though my daughter, all our children are grown now, and my oldest one I'm speaking about specifically now is that she still go through the same, like she's still going through that same challenge because although I'm here now, we're still getting to know each other. Like she gave me a book for, I think it was Father's Day, Vivett, and it was saying, how do I get to know, no, I want to know more about you, Dad. It's like a journal. And what a gift to give your dad, you know, that, especially a father like me that's really sentimental, and you know, I get it. When she gave that to me, it allows me to see that she's still, even in all the times that we had together and all the sharing that we've done, the bonding that we have, a great bond, excuse me, it's been so much that she endured that she still knows that I need to get to know my dad, you know? Babe, I'm kind of lost for words right now too, because I'm grateful that I just came in and be among you amazing women.
Now, I think that's an important point that you shared though, because we were talking about this earlier, like you're here now, but still there's so many things that may be triggers for her. You know, like I said at the graduation, I don't know if you remember, but you know, just the consistency, your consistency and your empathy to her, you know, and to understanding that it's still like, sometimes she probably might just want to just touch you to see, like, are you really here? Like, for real? You know? Yeah, I don't think that will ever end. And I haven't had that experience. Like, I'm learning from y'all, You know what I'm saying? Like I can't wait to that day. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna react, but
And it's
yeah,
coming
man.
soon, and I want you to know that. I want you to know that your father is coming home.
Yeah.
Could you please remind us of your father's name to all the people who are listening?
Yeah.
And what action can they take to help bring your father home? Because the one thing I hope we all take away, we've gone a little bit over time tonight, but it's worth it. These are real stories of real people who have been touched in many different ways by the hand of parental incarceration. And if we're going to have a union talking about parents nationally, this population of parent must be included. We are not to define people by their lowest moments in life.
Amen.
Because as I've seen from Naomi, you had times in your life that were trying, and you turned that around and saw fit to open up your heart to a child also going through tumultuous times in his young life. It's called healing, ladies and gentlemen. It's part of the healing cycle. From Naomi tonight, I'm learning, take action, ask questions. Naomi, is there an organization you'd like us to put in the comments who have been helpful to you, a place you might refer people to go to?
There's just so many, and I didn't think to prepare ahead of time.
Okay, I'd have to put you on the spot. I apologize.
But I will share with you at a future date. I will share with you. There are a lot of grassroots efforts surrounding helping parents navigate special education for their children. And in these forums, I find that there are people of all walks of life and socioeconomic levels and such that just come together as parents. I have a CPSE hearing. How do I do that? What school should I go to for dyslexia? My child is gifted and highly intelligent, but has a learning disability. How do I advocate and get help? And they're just so, I pull from so many places. Transracial adoption forums, adoptive parents who are Black with white appearing children. I've just got so many rockets in my pocket that I'm just gonna have to go through, and I will absolutely share with you. But if I can leave folk with one thing, ask and keep asking, and where you see that you can help another parent, please, respectfully, and without even accidentally causing any shame to them, make yourself available.
Make yourself available. I'd love to invite you to be back on. Ebony, we got us now. What is your father's name, Ebony?
My father's name is William Underwood, and what people can do, what action they can take most immediately, is if you go to change.org/free Underwood. Free Underwood, change.org/free Underwood, and sign that petition. He's trying to seek compassionate release for him. He's 66 years old. He's aged out of criminality. He's been in there for, as I said, 31 going on 32 years. And he has 0 infractions and has been a model prisoner. And we don't even like to use that word, but he's been a model incarcerated individual and has mentored many, many, many men and young men throughout the decades that he's been incarcerated. So thank you so much for this opportunity. If I had to share anything, I would just say, please, 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 if you are going through having a parent behind bars, please do go to wegotusnow.org. We are a community, we are building a community, and we are looking for you if you are part of this community. We're here.
Yes, you're on our website too at speakyourtruth.org, so they can find you there, here. And this is the website here we're sharing, so he will see it. Many actions. She's not just talking, she's taken, I say this line a lot, she's taken the proverbial lemons of life, the most sour, bitter lemons that life could have thrown her. And look what she's done with it.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing.
A labor of love, blood, sweat, and tears, her own personal pain to help others. We've got us now, community, solidarity, together. Listen to the name. We got us now. We're together. You're not alone the way I felt alone. You know? John, would you like to thank you, Ebony, and we honor your father.
Thank you so
And
much.
we're praying for him. I know John and I pray. Naomi, you're a praying woman. We pray for his return home to you and your family where he belongs.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. John, would you do the honor of closing us out tonight?
Well, I wanted to say also to chime in on the incredible woman, Ebony Underwood, that you have, like my wife said, you have done the work. You are legit. You came up to the prison. I was in there. I saw you in action. I remember telling a story once in front of people, and I'll share part of it now. Before I went to prison, I would have never came to prison to visit anyone, because that's how selfish I was. I would have never visit somebody like I saw people come up there and they didn't even know the people. Like you were volunteering your time, your service, all out of trying to help this terrible, this horrible situation that people are in, and this I want to say intentional situation that when you want to get into a larger scale of things, when you really think about it, you know, the where we come from, how it's set up, everything that comes with this in incarceration or this criminal justice system, so to speak. You came up there, so just from you coming up there, that alone had me blown away to see that you're young, you're coming up there, you're speaking to us, older men, younger men, speaking life into us, you know, giving us hope. You know, that went a long way, carried us for some nights, for some days, for some months, some that's still in there for some years. And even those like myself that came home, still feeling that energy from you, remembering when you came up and start speaking and start giving us not only what you had to give us, but also giving us your humility, saying, "Dag, I got a lot today. I really received a lot from you brothers today. Y'all said some things that I never heard before, you know?" And that was something I'll never forget. So I would say in closing that anytime you have the chance to, like Naomi was saying, and Ebony saying, and my wife Vivett is saying, anytime you have a chance to help somebody, anytime you have a chance to parent somebody, please do it to the best of your ability. Please, if you can't do it yourself, please try to help them find the resources, because sometimes you can't feed them, sometimes you can't clothe them, but you have the mind to know certain things, and that's wealth within itself. To say, well, you know what, I don't have the resources, but I do know where you can get these resources. You know, like what we're doing tonight by advertising these things, and that's what I would say. I would say that, and I'm trying to be short because I know time. So.
Yes. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you, everyone who took the time to watch this broadcast tonight. Thank you to everyone in this struggle, whether you're able to be here or not. Know that you're not alone. We're with you. Know that you are welcomed. Know that it is a safe place where you can speak your truth, and you have a national group of people behind you. And on that note, I thank you all. Have a blessed night, and I'll see you again. We won't be here Monday because it's Memorial Day. Day off. Everyone enjoy your day off. And we'll see you next week, Thursday. And until then, take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Wait, let me get a picture. Wait a minute. Let me get a picture. Yay! Thank you. Good night, everyone.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Good night.